What if your IQ, your intelligence quotient, wasn't the most important predictor of success? What if emotional intelligence, or EQ, mattered more? That's the groundbreaking idea Daniel Goleman introduced in his book Emotional Intelligence: Why It Can Matter More Than IQ. For decades, society equated intelligence with success. We assumed that the smartest people, those with the highest IQs, would automatically become the most accomplished. But Goleman's research turned that assumption upside down. He found that while intelligence helps, it's emotional intelligence that determines how well we use it. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage your own emotions, and to recognize and influence the emotions of others. It's what allows you to stay calm under pressure, handle conflict, build trust, and motivate yourself and those around you. The first major lesson from emotional intelligence is IQ and EQ are not the same, and EQ matters more. Goleman explains that IQ might determine what job you can get, but EQ determines how far you go. IQ helps you solve problems. EQ helps you solve people. Studies show that emotional intelligence accounts for nearly 80% of long-term success in leadership and relationships. He describes EQ as made up of 5 key components: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Each one is like a muscle that can be developed. The second lesson is self-awareness, the foundation of emotional intelligence. Self-awareness means knowing your emotions as they happen, recognizing what you're feeling and why. Most of us think we're self-aware, but we often react automatically, driven by unconscious emotions. Goleman writes, "If you are tuned out of your own emotions, you will be poor at reading them in others." Self-awareness is the mirror that allows you to see your emotional landscape clearly. When you understand your triggers, you stop being controlled by them. You gain the power to respond instead of react. The third lesson is self-regulation, mastering your impulses. Once you recognize your emotions, the next step is managing them. Self-regulation means controlling emotional impulses, staying calm under pressure, thinking before acting, and choosing your response wisely. Goleman calls this emotional self-control. It's not about suppressing feelings, but about channeling them productively. Leaders who can regulate emotions don't lash out, panic, or make rash decisions. They stay composed, even in chaos, and that calm becomes contagious. Self-regulation also involves adaptability, the ability to stay flexible in changing circumstances. People with strong self-control can adjust without losing focus or integrity. The fourth lesson is motivation, the drive from within. Goleman found that emotionally intelligent people are deeply motivated not by money, fame, or status, but by purpose and passion. They set goals that align with their values and persist through challenges. This kind of intrinsic motivation fuels long-term success. People high in EQ recover from setbacks faster because they see failure as feedback, not finality. They have what psychologists call grit, the persistence to keep moving forward even when things get hard. The fifth lesson is empathy, the ability to feel what others feel. Empathy is often misunderstood as softness, but it's actually one of the most powerful leadership tools. It means sensing what others are feeling, even when they don't say it out loud. Empathy allows us to communicate more effectively, resolve conflict, and build trust. In relationships, empathy strengthens bonds. In business, it creates collaboration. Goleman writes, "Empathy builds social glue, the emotional bonds that hold relationships together. True empathy requires presence, listening fully instead of waiting to speak. It's the skill of seeing through someone else's eyes and understanding the world from their perspective. The sixth lesson is social skills, the art of influence and connection. The final pillar of emotional intelligence is the ability to manage relationships. Social skills include communication, conflict resolution, teamwork, and the ability to inspire and influence others. Emotionally intelligent people don't manipulate, they connect. They understand that success is a team sport and trust is its currency. Social intelligence helps us navigate complex human dynamics with grace and empathy. The seventh lesson is the brain and emotion, the amygdala and the neocortex. Goleman connects emotional intelligence to neuroscience. The amygdala, the brain's emotional center, reacts instantly to threats or stress. This is why we sometimes say or do things we regret when angry or afraid. The neocortex, the rational brain, responds more slowly and thoughtfully. Emotional intelligence is the ability to engage the rational brain before the emotional one hijacks the situation. What Goleman calls an amygdala hijack. When we pause and breathe before reacting, we give our neocortex time to regain control. The eighth lesson is emotional literacy in childhood. Goleman emphasizes that emotional intelligence can and should be taught early. Children who learn to recognize and name emotions their own and others grow into more empathetic, confident adults. Teaching kids emotional literacy helps them manage frustration, resolve conflicts peacefully, and develop self-confidence. Goleman argues that EQ education should be as fundamental as math or reading. The ninth lesson is emotional intelligence in the workplace. In business, technical skills and IQ can get you hired, but emotional intelligence determines how effective you'll be. Goleman's research across organizations found that the best leaders, regardless of industry, scored high in EQ. They build trust, listen deeply, and create an atmosphere where people feel safe to contribute ideas. They inspire loyalty not through authority, but through empathy and consistency. Goleman calls this resonant leadership, leadership that uplifts and connects. The 10th lesson is EQ and relationships. In personal life, emotional intelligence is the glue that holds relationships together. Couples who communicate with empathy and self-awareness resolve conflicts more constructively and sustain deeper intimacy. Goleman cites research showing that emotional attunement and the ability to recognize and respond to a partner's emotions predicts long-term relationship success far better than compatibility or IQ. The 11th lesson is EQ and health. Goleman also links emotional intelligence to physical well-being. Chronic anger, anxiety, and stress trigger the body's fight or flight response, flooding us with cortisol and adrenaline. Over time, this weakens the immune system and leads to illness. Emotionally intelligent people, by contrast, recover from stress faster. They use techniques like mindfulness, breathing, and positive reframing to stay grounded. EQ doesn't just improve happiness, it improves health and longevity. The 12th lesson is, you can grow your EQ. Perhaps the most encouraging part of Goleman's work is that emotional intelligence is not fixed. It can be developed through awareness, practice, and intention. Start by noticing your emotions in real time. Name them. Practice pausing before reacting. When you feel triggered, take a breath. Reflect on what you're really feeling and choose a response aligned with your values. To build empathy, practice active listening focus entirely on the other person without planning your reply. Ask questions that show curiosity and care. Over time, your brain rewires itself. The more you practice emotional regulation, the easier it becomes. So how do we apply emotional intelligence in daily life? It starts with awareness. Pay attention to what you feel and how it drives your behavior. Learn to pause when you're angry, to listen when you're impatient, and to speak when it matters most. Be kind not because it's easy, but because it's effective. In business, relationships, and life, EQ is the invisible advantage, the skill that separates good from great. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you can't manage your emotions or connect with others, your potential will remain untapped. The big takeaway from emotional intelligence is this: your emotions are not obstacles, they're signals. When you learn to understand and use them wisely, you unlock a deeper kind of intelligence, one that leads to better leadership, stronger relationships, and a more fulfilling life. That was Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman, broken down into its most powerful lessons in under 12 minutes. Which part resonated most with you, self-awareness, empathy, or emotional control? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this summary, make sure to like this video, subscribe to 10-Minute Books, and ring the bell so you never miss our weekly breakdowns of life-changing books. Thanks for watching, and remember, being smart is good, but being emotionally wise is unstoppable.